Baby, I'm Ross Mandell, and welcome to my show. Today we're coming to you live from Boca Raton, Florida. Yes, Boca Raton, Florida. We're coming to you uncut, uncensored, unfiltered, unedited, and yes, I am, it's true, under arrest. I'm Ross Mandell, I'm your host today, and wow, did I open up a can of worms yesterday. You know, for the first time yesterday, I spoke a little specifically about the stock markets, the capital markets, the bond markets, commodity markets, what we call Wall Street. You know, some of you don't have a certain level of sophistication, and some of you, of course, you know everything. So I'm trying to address a broad range of an audience. I have spent 25 years on the street, and yesterday I came out and said very publicly that I'm expecting these markets to get ugly. Jersey Shore, grenades are coming. This market is going to get ugly, and it's going to get ugly fast, and it's going to be harsh, and it's going to be severe, and people are going to say, if only I would have known, I could have done this, I could have done that. Do you know how much money we could have made? Well, the few people that watched the show yesterday, some of the inside people involved with producing the show and whatnot, said, holy cow, what can we do? I mean, I'm long this, I'm long that, IRAs, KIOs, pensions, 401s, college funds. How can I profit from this sort of disaster in the stock market? Now, first of all, let's talk about the markets themselves. You know, what brings me to this sort of conclusion? And again, this is my opinion. This is Ross Mandell's opinion. Today is Friday, September the 3rd, 2010. I want to mark this video. It's very important for my process. As you know, I'm in the trial process, and I'm not giving you financial advice, not yet anyway, but I am telling you my opinion and my feeling. And, you know, the information that's at my fingertips are the same that's at most of yours. It's just that after 25 years of being in the game, you know how to interpret it a little bit better. You have political risk. What the hell is going on in Washington? If you've been listening to me, you know, you get it. This health care plan is a disaster. The government can't run itself. How are they going to run my health care plan? I mean, it's just insane. You know, you're talking about geopolitical risk. You're talking about the potential for war. You're talking about one-off events like terrorism and bombings. You're talking about, you know, potential scandals, accounting issues. I mean, there's elections coming. There's such an enormous amount of uncertainty. Now, just remember, 2 years ago, in 08, we were looking at 14,000 at one point on the Dow. 14,000 on the Dow Jones. We were going to go to 20,000. Everybody's homes were so robust. The values were full. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And, you know, when it's like that, there's no one else to get in the game. Everybody was long. If everybody's invested, it has to go down. You see, all markets are governed by one simple concept. They teach you this your first day on Wall Street. It's supply and demand. Period. If you got one and there's demand for two, boy, it goes up. If you could buy one, but two need to be sold, well, guess what? The prices come down. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that simple. It's that simple. It's a market. Now, let me give you an example of why it's so ugly right now. 2 years ago, less, General Motors, bankrupt, insolvent, government bailout, tens of billions of dollars. American cars, pensions, unions. Forget about it. You're going to compete with who? The Japanese, the Koreans, the Chinese, the Germans? You just cannot compete domestically. So what does the government do? Bails them out. Walks away from debt. Uses our money. Taxpayer money. Our children's money. Our children's future. And what do? They fund General Motors. They write the ship. I wish somebody would do this for me. General Motors just announced it's going public. It's going public. They're going to sell fresh shares on the marketplace. Guess who's doing the deal? Our good friends at Goldman Sachs, who just got bailed out. $10 billion in TARP money. Another 30 or 40 billion they got straight from AIG when we bailed AIG out. Can you imagine? This is the same Goldman Sachs that a few weeks ago announced on television, we screwed up. We mislabeled some products. We agreed to pay you back $550 million. SEC, big press conference. Now they're underwriting the General Motors offering. Guess why they're going public? They don't even hide it. The United States government is trying to get out. They're going to sell their paper to you. It's your money to begin with. We bailed them out. Now they want to, sell stock to the public. It's so crazy. It's so convoluted. It's so dirty. It's disgusting. Today, I had a very interesting conversation with a major New York newspaper. They're running a big story on me, my life, my situation. It'll be out maybe next week. And they had some questions to ask me. I did extensive interviews. The interviews were taped. And it's going to be a hell of a story. And the editor says to me, this is after, thousands of written words and hours of tape. Are you guilty? No, I'm not guilty. I'm not guilty of the crimes that I was charged of. Then he says, well, the fact that Bernie Madoff was never investigated and never prosecuted and had to turn himself in, that doesn't mean that you're not guilty. And I was like, what? This is what he gleaned from all those hours of interview and discussion. Bernie Madoff turned himself in. He owned a big investment bank and stock brokerage business down on Wall Street in the same arena where I was regulated, investigated, and governed by FINRA, which is a combination of the NASD and the New York Stock Exchange. These are the bodies that govern stockbrokering, investment banking, and insurance in the United States. And they have districts. And in our district was Bernie Madoff, AIG, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, Merrill Lynch, Citibank, and all of them. The only one that didn't go broke and bankrupt and insolvent was the firm I was associated with, Sky Capital. When I left Sky Capital, it was still solvent. It still had capital. I mean, But they came after me. They said, Mr. Mandell, you had 14 examinations in 3 years. Bernie Madoff, in 14 years, only had 3. How do you explain that? I said, this FINRA is the most corrupt, inefficient organization ever. This is the governing body. They look at all the stock brokerage businesses and the financial companies. They call themselves a self-regulating organization. You know what that means? It means you go to their Gambino family and you say, we'd like you to head up the organized crime enforcement effort. Go to the Genovese family, the Colombo family. It's self-regulating. We don't need anybody independent. We don't need anybody outside the guys. We're going to regulate this ourselves because we're honest and we're looking out for you. Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, Bear Stearns, AIG, Merrill Lynch, they all went broke. They all went insolvent, negative to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. Nobody was charged. Nobody was perp walked. Nobody was indicted. But they came at guys like me because they're looking out for you. Hogwash. So I explained the story. These are the same corrupt, inefficient organizations still that are policing Goldman Sachs, that are making sure the General Motors IPO is safe for the public interest. They're not fooling anybody, guys. That's why the people with money are selling. They're selling this market. They're shorting this market. They're borrowing things they don't own and selling them, knowing in 2-3 months they're going to buy them back a lot cheaper. Now, there are ways to profit from this sort of craziness, this severe decline in the stock markets. And by popular demand, I've been asked to try and share some of these ideas with you people in a sort of fundamental, grassroots, sort of streety kind of way, so you understand just how you can benefit when you see the Mandell prophecy come to fruition in your lives. Before the end of this year, I'm calling for a minimum 20% decline in the S&P. That's enormous. As much as 2,000 points of a decline from here on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I think it closed yesterday about 10,250 or so, or 10,300. Is 8,000 a possibility? Oh, yeah. Could it go lower? Could it go to 7,000 or 6,600 where it went in 08? Oh, yeah. You realize that if you play the market that way, you could make $1 zillion on that sort of a move. I'm going to share with you what some of the big boys are doing, the ultimate insiders. They're buying gold. They're buying gold mining stocks. They're buying out-of-the-money puts on all the averages, meaning that they're betting that this thing is just going to cave in. And over the next few days, I'm going to share with you specific strategies, how you can ring the register. Now, you know, CNBC, they're all prancing around. Oh, the market's up 200 points the other day. You know, Kramer, I don't know what the hell this guy's talking about. He used to have integrity. He used to say it like it is. And now he's become like a stock market cheerleader type. You know, he wants you in. Doesn't matter what happens to you, because he changes his shit every day. I used to love this guy, and now I have trouble watching this show. So there are ways in which you can hedge your existing stock portfolios so you don't get slaughtered like the sheep that they're making you out to be. You see, the shepherds, the Goldman Sachses of the world, the FINRAs of the world, they know what's on. They at the highest end, they know what's coming. It's a disaster. Are they going after the White House? Are they trying to move Democrats out of the way? Of course they are. A lot of chit-chat. Of course they are, because when this economy cracks like an egg, who's going to be happy with this guy sitting in the White House? Who's going to be happy with these idiots in Congress? You know, this woman, Nancy Pelosi. Who's going to be happy with this woman? You know, when unemployment is worse, when the value of the little money you have left is worse. You see, they've been trying to support this artificially. Can't be done. You have to take, we need less government. We need less regulation, but more efficient regulation. You know, if 5,000 guys can't regulate something, you don't bring another 5,000 idiots. You take that 5,000, you make them 3,000, but you make the right 3,000. You get smart guys. You work on getting better and more efficient regulation. That's what you do. You don't let the inmates regulate the prison, and that's what's been going on Wall Street. Self-regulating my ass, guys. Now, come on. Am I talking Chinese here? I think I'm being very straightforward. I want to really get more and more specific as the days go on. We're going to talk about how to profit from this ridiculous nonsense that's going on in our lives right now. And I'm sorry to say, this severe crisis, this stock market event that's coming. The economy's already corrected and crashed. Unemployment's already at an all-time high. The housing market is already at historically disastrous proportions. Stock market's going to follow, people. And we're going to talk about this sensibly, and we're going to show you how to, you know, ring the register. Hopefully put some money in your pocket so, you know, you can walk with the big dogs on the street. Listen, I'm Ross Mandell, rossmandell.com. I'm Ross Mandell on Facebook. That's, yes, you got it, double S and double L. It's such a privilege to be able to chat with you guys today and share with you some of my personal stuff and some of my philosophies. And you know what? I'm going to be back at you again tomorrow. So, you know, here's to you guys. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very grateful.